Okay, so you know how it is. You're trying to keep everything running smoothly, keeping your industrial environment safe, right?
Right.
But you're also dealing with those deadlines, and maybe you've got shifts in personnel, like experienced people moving on, or maybe just even trying to, get that older equipment up to speed.
Oh, yeah. Always a challenge.
It's a constant balancing act, and today we're really zeroing in on one crucial piece of that whole safety puzzle. We're talking machine guarding.
Absolutely essential.
We are, and we're diving deep into how PowerSafe Automation handles this. They call it their turnkey machine guarding process.
And that's a great way to think about it. Isn't it like they're taking care of the whole thing start to finish?
Yeah, and
Oh,
we've got all their information right here in front of us, and it's pretty comprehensive, laying out how they aim to create those safer and, importantly, more efficient workspaces.
because efficiency ties right back into safety, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And so think of this deep dive as us really sifting through all those details so you can walk away with that core understanding of how PowerSafe operates.
Like a cheat sheet almost.
Exactly. Yeah. So our real mission today is to break down their process, understand those critical steps that they're taking, those key things they're considering, and ultimately what makes their solution what they call premium valued.
A premium valued solution. That's a term they use a lot, so we got to figure out what's behind it.
We do. Okay, so jumping right in, one of the first things that really pops out is they get on site pretty early on.
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is how much they emphasize, starting with this collaborative machine guarding assessment. And it's not just like a remote evaluation. It's right there in your facility with their sales engineer working directly with your operators and your maintenance teams.
Interesting. So they're getting that hands-on experience right from the get-go.
Exactly. It's like they're prioritizing, really understanding how your processes work, specifically your unique setup.
Makes sense because you can't just have some cookie-cutter approach to something as crucial as machine safety.
Nope, definitely not. And their documentation actually goes into a pretty comprehensive list of all the factors that they consider during this initial on-site look.
Okay, so walk us through some of those.
Well, they're looking at the obvious things, right? Like where are the hazards? How accessible are they? But then they also get into some more nuanced areas like what they call deliberate action opportunities.
Deliberate action opportunities. What's that all about?
So it's about understanding how easily someone might intentionally or maybe even unintentionally bypass a safety measure. So it's a deeper level of risk analysis, really thinking about those potential weaknesses.
It's like anticipating those workarounds that people might come up with.
Exactly. And then they also dive into the specifics of the functional safety controls themselves. And of course, that supercritical calculation of stop time distance for any presence sensing devices.
Oh yeah, stop time distance, that's crucial, especially for things like light curtains, right? It's not enough to just detect a presence. It's about making sure that machine has enough time to fully stop before anyone can get hurt.
It's exactly 100%. And, another interesting thing they mentioned is reviewing machine acquisitions.
Oh, wow. So thinking about safety right when you're bringing in new equipment.
Yeah, it's a proactive approach. It's like integrating safety right into that acquisition phase,
Yeah.
which can prevent a lot of headaches and costs down the line.
Makes sense. And it's really interesting that they also factor in ergonomic safety environments.
Right. So it's not just about those immediate impact injuries. They're thinking about the worker's well-being more holistically.
I like that wider lens. And ultimately, the goal of all of this in-depth assessment is pretty clear, right?
Yeah, to avoid what they call SIF,
SIF?
which they helpfully define as serious injury and fatality.
Yeah.
It's a sobering reminder of why we're even talking about this stuff, why robust machine guarding is so important.
Absolutely no messing around there. Okay, so we've had this initial deep dive into your operations. What happens next? What's phase 2 in the PowerSafe process?
So from that on-site understanding, they move into the design and engineering stage. And this is where their engineers take all that information they've gathered and they develop these really detailed 3D CAD models and a full scope of work.
Cool, and they specifically call these engineered solutions.
Yes, that's a key distinction for sure.
So why is that distinction so important? What makes engineered solutions different from other types of safety measures?
Okay, well, by emphasizing engineered solutions, they're highlighting physical design safety measures. And this is in contrast to relying solely on what they call administrative controls.
Which would be like?
Things like rules, procedures, training, that sort of thing, or alternative protective measures, which might include things like personal protective equipment.
Oh, okay, like the PPE stuff, yeah.
Exactly. And while those things definitely have their place, engineered solutions offer a much more reliable and inherently safer level of protection against hazards.
It's like building the safety in rather than just hoping people follow the rules or wear their gear properly.
Yeah, you're reducing that reliance on human behavior to really prevent those accidents.
Oh, I see. And these engineered solutions, it's not like they're just pulling them off a shelf, right?
No, not at all. They mentioned that they can range from, you know, guarding a single machine all the way up to much broader initiatives, like even setting corporate safety directives or creating proof of concept guards.
So they can scale their approach based on the need?
Absolutely. Whether you're a smaller facility or a huge corporation, they seem to be able to adapt. And at the end of this design phase, they provide what they call a recommendations report.
Okay. And how detailed is this report?
Pretty detailed. It seems to include a slide deck presentation outlining the whole scope of work, those 3D CAD models. And they specifically mention using Rexroth FramePro for this, which is industry standard software for precise design.
So you know they're not cutting corners there.
Right. And they also include a product legend so you can clearly understand every component in that proposed solution.
It's like getting the blueprint to your new safety setup.
Exactly. And then the really crucial part, I think, is what they call the turnkey quote.
Ah, the turnkey quote. Break that down for us.
So this quote covers not just the materials themselves, which they say could be Bosch framing inch series or excellent steel fencing, but also the full installation, any optional upgrades you might want, and even detailed electrical and fluid power schematics.
Wow. So they're thinking about all the different systems involved.
They are, and importantly, they include a list of recommended spare parts as well.
Oh, smart. So you're not scrambling later if something needs replacing.
Exactly. It's that long-term thinking again.
It's like they're setting you up for success beyond just that initial installation.
Right. It's a partnership, not just a transaction.
I like that. Okay, so you've had the assessment, you've got the engineered design, and you've signed off on the quote. What happens next?
Then it moves into the manufacturing stage, and they start with an on-site post-review to double-check those approved designs.
Oh, interesting. So another layer of verification.
Exactly. It's a crucial step to catch any potential discrepancies or, makes those last-minute adjustments before they start building anything.
So it's about precision and minimizing errors in that final product.
100%. And then the actual manufacturing process, they talk about using materials like Rexroth aluminum framing, which is known for its modularity and strength fabricated metal, or that heavy-duty steel fencing.
Got it. So a range of options based on the need.
Right. And they also mentioned powder coating as an option, which not only improves durability, but just gives a better overall look and feel to the guarding.
It's like the finishing touch.
Yeah. And the level of assembly can vary too. They might do sub-assemblies in their facility or even fully assemble entire guarding sections.
Interesting. So that pre-assembly could really speed things up once they're on site.
Absolutely. It minimizes the disruption to your operations. And they also highlight building and testing the safety controls during this phase.
Oh, right. So everything is working perfectly before it even gets to your facility.
Exactly. And then finally, they schedule that actual guarding installation.
Okay, so it's all coming together in a controlled environment before it hits your doorstep. So let's talk about the installation itself. What does that process look like?
So the installation is where that engineered guarding becomes a physical reality in your workspace. And they mentioned there are assembly technicians or even specialized machine guarding contractors setting up a job trailer on your site.
Like a little mobile workshop?
Yeah, exactly. It shows a professional and self-contained approach to that installation.
Definitely more organized than just, showing up with a truckload of parts.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they're not just putting up those physical barriers, they're also integrating those e-safety components, the presence sensing devices we talked about.
Right, so the physical and the electronic systems have to work together seamlessly.
Exactly, for that complete protection. And here's another insightful thing. They schedule a review of your existing safety program during the installation.
Interesting. So they're making sure their guarding sits into your overall safety system.
Right, because it's not just about their equipment being safe in isolation. It's about how it integrates with your protocols and your culture.
It's a holistic approach.
It is. And the final step in this phase is the commissioning of the project, which they do in collaboration with your maintenance team. And they hand over those spare parts and the detailed electrical and fluid power schematics we talked about.
So they're giving you all the tools for long-term success.
Exactly. It's about ensuring that smooth transition and empowering your team to really understand and maintain those safety systems effectively.
Okay, so they've done the installation, everything's up and running, that's the end of their involvement, right?
Not quite, actually. They really emphasize the ongoing nature of safety and specifically highlight regular machine guarding inspections using a standardized workplace safety checklist.
Okay, so even with a top-notch system in place, those regular checks are still vital.
Absolutely. Because even the most robust guarding can wear down, get damaged, or even tampered with over time.
Makes sense. So it's about staying vigilant.
Right. And they take it even further by offering what they call a preventative maintenance for machine guarding program.
So what kind of benefits does a program like that offer?
Well, they say it can lead to significant reductions in unexpected downtime because you're catching those potential issues before they cause a breakdown.
That's smart, being proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly. And it also minimizes ongoing hazards, reduces potential waste associated with accidents, and can even extend the lifespan of your equipment.
So it's good for safety and good for the bottom line.
100%. It's about that holistic approach to safety and operational efficiency.
Now, throughout this whole process, PowerSafe talks about delivering a wow factor by focusing on speed to market while still providing those premium valued solutions.
Yeah.
What are they saying contributes to this wow factor?
Well, one thing they highlight is multi-channel communication for seamless collaboration. So for you, that means clear and consistent communication throughout the project.
So no surprises, everyone's on the same page.
Right. And they also mention their expertise in industrial applications and markets, meaning they understand those specific safety challenges and regulations within different industries.
So they can tailor the solution to your specific context.
Exactly. And they also point to their efficient internal process flow controls, which probably helps with that speed to market emphasis.
So streamlined operations mean faster turnaround times.
Precisely. And then there's their standardized inventory through partnerships with those top-tier suppliers, which means consistent access to high-quality components for you.
So no delays because they're waiting on parts.
Right. And finally, they emphasize innovative turnkey solutions as part of that wow factor, reinforcing the idea that they're not just providing basic guarding, but complete systems designed for your needs.
And when we look at the actual physical guarding, they specifically mention using T-slotted aluminum and modular steel fencing.
Yeah, and they say this allows them to create those custom-fit solutions that offer superior protection compared to more generic options.
And the modularity probably gives you more flexibility for adjustments down the road.
Exactly. You can adapt as your needs change.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. What are the key takeaways for someone considering PowerSafe Automation's approach?
Well, it seems like they offer a very structured and comprehensive step-by-step process for creating those custom machine guarding solutions, starting with that detailed on-site assessment and going all the way through to that long-term maintenance and support.
And they're really focused on providing those engineered solutions, right? The physical barriers designed for your specific equipment.
Exactly. And their core value proposition is about enhancing machine safety, creating a safer environment for your employees, and ultimately minimizing those operational disruptions and costs that come with accidents.
It's about peace of mind knowing you've got a comprehensive solution in place.
So as you're thinking about the safety of your own facility, consider this. How might a structured, custom-designed approach to machine guarding, tailored specifically to your machines and your workflow, positively impact both the safety and the efficiency of your workplace?
It's a question worth asking.
It is. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Absolutely.